This week on the Husky Update.
The primaries for the Democratic and Republican nomination for president continue. We speak to some people after the vote in the Massachusetts primary. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visits campus to attend a summit for Northeastern's Women Who Empower organization. And COVID-19 spread causes Northeastern to transition to online classes. All this and more on this week's episode of the Husky Update.
Your campus, your news, all the time.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Husky Update from the Curry Student Pit. My name is Makayla Virdi. Here's the week's news. The Democratic primaries and caucuses throughout many states have recently completed, including the Massachusetts primary. On March 3rd, we spoke to some students as they exited the polls at a polling location at the nearby Wentworth Institute of Technology. Here's reporter Ilana Gersten with the story.
Is there a certain issue that you think is the most important during this election cycle?
Yeah, I think education is very important and kind of a more humble leader than who is in office right now.
I think Medicare for all is important, stuff like that. Bernie Sanders, yeah.
Right now, just another college student voting for Sanders and like everything, like pretty much his whole platform right now, like the healthcare, student loans, stuff like that. My brain's like a little off right now, but so I can't really word things eloquently, but yeah, pretty much like the same issues like a lot of my friends care about, especially the healthcare one. I'm like a person who's been very affected by that recently. Like a couple of my friends and myself included have had like hospital issues like within the past year or so, and it's been taking like a pretty big financial toll on us. So that's been like a big issue that I really care about now.
The abortion issue is very important to me.
We shouldn't try to provoke anything or anyone right now. I think we should just focus on making sure that we are in a state that is okay and address those places which are not okay, such as education perhaps. A lot of people who deserve an education maybe aren't being educated. And of course, women's equality and racial equality. I think that's what we should prioritize, the interior issues.
I think one of them is kind of being Trump, and part of that is having a unified Democratic Party. I think the best way that could happen is through Bernie Sanders. And then I also think that another issue is college, paying for college. Lots of people, including me, have student debt, and the way that Bernie Sanders would restructure college and different things would definitely help with that. So,
what is your preferred outcome for tonight?
That's a good question. I don't usually share this with most people because I don't like usually saying who I'm voting for, but I'd want Bernie to become the Democratic candidate. So
it's hard to say. I'll admit that I was not as good at researching beforehand as I could have been. So I pretty much asked my brother, who's a poli-sci major. I trust what he has to say. So I asked him what he had to say about it, and went from there. Although I will make a point to do more research for the actual election once that comes.
Preferred outcome is that Bernie Sanders steals the primary.
May the best person win.
Thanks, Ilana. As of filming, Joe Biden leads the Democratic primary race. Biden started off the race with a very bad showing in the first contest in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada. The latter two won by Bernie Sanders. The former vice president was able to recover with a stellar showing in South Carolina. The first contest, where a significant amount of the voting Democratic population is African American, where he defeated Bernie Sanders by nearly 30 points. On Super Tuesday, Biden carried 10 of 13 states, including surprising wins in Minnesota, Massachusetts, and Maine, where Bernie Sanders was leading in polls. In more recent primary contests, Joe Biden continued his winning streak by winning crucial states like Michigan. On the Republican side, Donald Trump has won every primary and caucus so far, with his closest competitor being former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld. Weld has only managed to win one delegate out of Iowa. In other political news, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited campus to attend a summit for Women Who Empower, a Northeastern organization dedicated to inspiring women to enter leadership positions in both industry and politics. Meghna Chakrabarty of Boston's WBUR radio station hosted the conversation, which took place in East Village on March 9th. Pelosi discussed her hopes for a woman president, giving hints that she voted for Elizabeth Warren in the California primary held the week prior, as well as her issues with the Trump administration. During the discussion, reporters asked questions about the outbreak of COVID-19, commonly referred to as the novel coronavirus, and how Congress planned on handling it. She spoke about a recently passed spending package to combat the spread of the virus, as well as her hopes that further legislation will be passed to reduce the impact of the virus on communities around the United States. Now we'll take it to our reporter, Brady, with Rapid Fire, who will fill us in on some more details and news about COVID-19.
Thanks, Makayla. My name is Brady Joyce, and this is Rapid Fire. COVID-19 has been rapidly spreading throughout the United States, with many states, including Massachusetts, issuing the state of emergency announcements. Part of Massachusetts' outbreak has been linked to a meeting of the Boston biotech firm Biogen. Since then, most colleges in the area have suspended in-person classes and is either transitioning to online instruction or completely canceling classes. President Trump announced on March 11th that travel from Europe would be suspended for 30 days, starting just before midnight on March 13th. Italy has been particularly affected by the virus, with the northern part of the nation being almost completely shut down. Nearly all Northeastern sponsored travel has been suspended, including dialogues and Summer One. In many states, large gatherings have been completely banned. All Broadway shows are suspended, as well as the NCAA's March Madness tournaments. That's all for Rapid Fire. Back to Makayla.
Thanks, Brady. After the news broke that Northeastern was transitioning to a fully online instruction, our reporter Ilana spoke to some students about their thoughts on the change.
What are your thoughts on transitioning to online courses starting tomorrow?
I think it was actually like a great call from Northeastern, especially that Harvard yesterday declared moving online, and I saw that the World Health Organization also just declared like a world pandemic. But that being said, we are so close to the end of the semester, so many people are graduating on co-op. I think it's definitely not going to be an easy situation nonetheless. But I mean, rather safe than sorry.
I think it's a very good move, and I'm surprised that they didn't do it sooner. I mean, so little is known about this virus as it is a new novel virus, and we don't know much about its mutation rate and how serious it can be, and the fact that it has been compared so closely to the flu is actually very toxic to the environment that we should be creating concerning a pandemic like this. And so by quarantining for at least 2 weeks, I think this is a very good move, just concerning the health and safety of everyone. And, we are well set up with, multiple platforms to go online. So I think this is good.
I think that's the right move right now, because given that Northeastern has a huge crowd, and even the classes, so most of the classes in COE and CCIS have a huge strength in each class. And given the number of outbreaks that have just doubled from yesterday, I just read in the news that it's 1,000 already. And even the health officials have given in and they've been tested positive. So given all that, I think it's a good move.
I think that I definitely expected it because I think every other big school around us has. So I was kind of waiting for it to happen. I am kind of confused how it's going to work with finals and everything and seeing how all of my classes adjust to it. I mean, it's expected, but also I think it's going to be a kind of big inconvenience. I don't really see how a lot of my classes will fit into an online setting. I'm just kind of anxious to see how that turns out.
We're both international students, and my biggest concern is that, one, we don't know if online classes will count if we take them, because international students aren't allowed to take, I think, as many as 4 classes online. And also time difference, and also now we're trying to figure out travel signatures and trying to go to OGS. So it's just a lot to do in a short period of time. But yeah.
Basically, it's a lot to figure out, and we don't really have all the information that we need. So it's just hard to make plans for the future without knowing whether anything's going to count, whether we're going to be able to travel, any of that. So yeah.
Thanks, Ilana. This will be our final episode for the Husky Update for the 2019 to 2020 school year. So for the last time this year, that's the news. The rest is up to you. Be sure to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with the Husky Update. My name is Makayla. Thank you for watching.